Now, when someone you love hits a hard time, it's really hard sometimes to know what to do. And also, if you are in that position where you've hit a challenging period in your life, it can be pretty hard to ask people for the help that you need. One of my friends' mums recently died, and so a whole group of her friends got together and we put together a roster for making food for her. And, you know, it wasn't really a period where we could contact her directly, and it worked really well, but there was probably a lot of other things that we could do, but it was really hard to navigate. There's a fantastic website called Gather My Crew, and it possibly is the answer that we are all looking for when it comes to helping each other. Joining us is the founder of the website, Gather My Crew. It turns one, Dr. Susan Palmer. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And we're also joined by Jodie Prius. Is that how we say your surname?
It's Price, actually, but
Price.
that's okay, Jacinta.
And you are someone that has used this. So first of all, we'll check in with Susan. How did this come about, and how does it work?
It came about a number of years ago now. My background is as a psychologist and spent a lot of time working in oncology, and would often hear about this disconnection between people going through a rough time and their friends and family and neighbours and community who desperately wanted to help. And when I was put in the position of actually trying to coordinate care for someone I cared about, I realised how difficult it is. And it's not just the meals, as you mentioned. It's not just meals. It's all the other things that go along with keeping a family going when something awful happens. And so that was the general concept. And I looked around and tried to find something else similar that existed. And there were things like Meal Train or Take Them a Meal, but they weren't really delivering what I had in mind and what people were telling me they really needed. So that set off a 12-month process of developing the idea and talking to focus groups and clinicians around Australia and doing a lot of research and understanding what we could do. And the idea behind it is we're trying to make it easier to ask for help, so to kind of help people with those awkward conversations, to make it easier for the people around you to give you the right type of help, so you don't just get 15 lasagnas, you get the help with kids getting to school, or someone mowing the lawn, or taking the kids for a play date on the weekend so you can have a rest, and also harnessing the help that you get offered in those early days and turning into this long-term sustained support. And over the last 12 months since we've launched, we've had 4,500 people who have been using Gather My Crew, and we're really proud of how far we've come.
Jodie, you've been using Gather My Crew. That's been your experience ever since you found out you had breast cancer. What have been the big benefits to something like this that might not have been available prior?
The biggest for me, Sammy, has just been about being able to harness, as Susan said, that all those people that offered help. I had lots of people when they first found out what I was going through that said, how can we help? What can we do? And then I had surgery at the beginning of May, so I was sort of out of action in terms of driving for 6 weeks, but had 2 or 3 doctor's appointments to get to every week. And my husband couldn't take all of that time off just to do those appointments, and he did some of them. But so that's where I sort of started getting people involved, and people would say, can I help? And so I added them to my crew, and I could just put the appointments up and they would just accept them.
And that's the magic in this, isn't it, Jodie? Because whilst people offer help, it's still a really hard thing to actually say, hi, I know you said you could help. Could you drive me? Because what you're doing is asking for something that feels really big. But if someone accepts it and does it on their own account, it is a very different experience, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I felt like there were some people I did ask to be part of it, but others just offered and I could put it out there and I didn't have to actually physically ask them again. And when you're going through, whether it be an illness or whether it be something else, even just the act of asking for more help or more assistance is tough. But also just if you ask one person and they can't, so you may have to ask someone 3 or 4 times to get someone to do it. Whereas this way I can put my appointments or whatever I need up on Gather My Crew, send it around to my crew again, and I'll always have someone accept it. It's so easy.
As concepts go, this one particularly, Gather My Crew, the website and the service it provides, seems like such a obvious idea. Where it's shocking it took so long to develop it. I can think of, just off the top of my head, other illnesses and other people with considerations that would benefit from this. Depression, for example. Is it being rolled out in other platforms? Do you know of that?
It is so obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that was the first hurdle that we had to overcome, was the belief that no one else had done something.
Because you probably just keep looking, someone must have, and then you
There's
don't bother
always
because
an
of that.
app
Yeah.
for, you know.
Surely. Yeah, and so I guess that was one of the things that took us by surprise as well. I should mention here that we're a registered charity as well, so this is freely available, and we're supported by the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation in Melbourne. So it's one of those things that we really are trying to just build community. And now I've forgotten what your question was.
Well, just how are you rolling it out for other platforms, other illnesses, for example? Or can anyone just use it?
Anyone can use it. We don't put, and I guess that's part of this community building kind of mission that we've got here. Anyone can use it. If you feel like you need help from friends and family and neighbours, and you've got a community there that are willing and able, you can use it. So we've had people use it for new babies, for deployments when partners are being deployed overseas, for when there's illness happening, so whether it be stroke or a car accident, anything that takes someone out of action and you don't quite know how you're going to get through the next week or months, this is absolutely for you. We don't filter based on what's going on in your life.
Congratulations on your first birthday. Gather My Crew is such a wonderful tool and support for people like you, Jodie, who are going through, a challenging time. And I need to say a huge thank you for you to come in today, because you are undergoing cancer treatment at the moment, and, a bit of a champion to make your way in here this morning.
Look, it's no problem at all. I have loved using Gather My Crew, so being able to tell other people about it is great for me.
And the website is?
Gathermycrew.org.
Perfect.